Today on Forbes, billionaire Robert Kuok's grandson drives $10 billion bet on AI data centers. The roots of Kuok Group, the conglomerate founded by legendary business tycoon Robert Kuok, go back to 1949 in Malaysia's Johor state, where he and his brothers started a business trading everyday items such as sugar, rice, and flour. More than 75 years later, once sleepy Johor, cashing in on its plentiful land and proximity to Singapore, has transformed itself into a booming tech hub. There, in a homecoming of sorts, the Kuok Group has latched on to the opportunity of selling a 21st century essential: data storage. Last October, the group's privately held unit, K2 Strategic, led by the patriarch's 41-year-old grandson, Kuok Meng Wei, opened a 60-megawatt data center. Note that capacity is measured by power consumption, at the 700-acre Sudanak Tech Park, one of a dozen digital hubs multiplying across Johor. Located about 30 kilometers from the century-old causeway connecting Singapore and state capital Johor Bahru, it has drawn some of the biggest data center players from around the world. Meng Wei says, quote, "The data center industry is the hottest industry we've seen for decades. AI workloads are driving the demand for data centers exponentially." In Johor, K2 Strategic is currently the third biggest operator, after Bain Capital's Bridge Data Centers with 126 megawatts, and Day One, a unit of China's GDS with 115 megawatts, according to London-based property consultancy Knight Frank. Other players include Warburg Pincus-backed Princeton Digital Group and Malaysian tycoon Francis Yeo's YTL Corp, which is partnered with AI chip developer NVIDIA. Meng Wei is reluctant to disclose the names of K2's existing clients, saying, quote, "We count two of the world's largest cloud service providers and the world's fastest-growing social media firm among our list of customers." K2's managing director and CEO says the data center boom is similar to the so-called, quote, "large macro wave" the Kuok Group rode when China opened up under Deng Xiaoping in the late 1970s, unleashing demand for necessities like edible oil and other agro-commodities. Confident that riding this new wave will pay off, Meng Wei is doubling down with plans to invest a whopping $9 billion over the next 5 years, on top of the $1 billion he's already spent. The bulk has been earmarked for building data center capacity in Malaysia, Indonesia, and Thailand. These countries, which are Southeast Asia's fastest-growing data storage hubs, according to Knight Frank, have benefited from Singapore's 2019 moratorium on building data centers due to constraints on land and electricity supply. The moratorium was lifted in 2022, but new build-outs continued in Malaysia and elsewhere as Singapore imposed more stringent requirements. Big money is pouring into the data center boom in the region. Amazon, Google, Microsoft, and Oracle are fast expanding their digital footprint across Southeast Asia, with plans to invest more than a combined $44 billion in the next few years. Just over half of that amount, $23 billion, is targeted for Malaysia. Despite the rapid buildup, industry players are confident demand is sustainable. Ado Toto Sujiri, billionaire co-founder and CEO of Jakarta-listed DCI Indonesia, that country's largest data center provider, says, quote, "The industry is not overbuilding capacity just yet." At the end of 2024, DCI Indonesia operated 7 centers with a combined capacity of 83 megawatts. Meng Wei is scaling up fast. His goal is to increase K2's capacity tenfold to 1,200 megawatts by 2030 from 120 megawatts currently. To achieve this, he's scouting for new sites in Malaysia outside the Sudanak campus, which he expects to be fully occupied within the next 2 to 3 years. Simultaneously, he's expanding in Indonesia, where K2 Strategic has partnered with the billionaire Wijaya family's Sinar Mas land. They've acquired 2 sites in Bekasi in eastern Jakarta, covering over 40 acres, where they plan to develop more than 100 megawatts. For full coverage, check out Jonathan Burgos' piece on forbes.com. This is Kieran Meadows from Forbes. Thanks for tuning in.